Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be taking a look at one of the best science champions in the game, and that champion, of course, is Count Nefaria. He's one of those champions where if you don't know his abilities, then he pretty much seems like the most overrated champion in the game. But once you actually know what he does and what those abilities are, then you pretty much start to understand the hype. It's like he's underrated and overrated at the same time, which doesn't really make sense, but this is the position that he's in. Which is why we're here today to talk about all of his abilities, how you actually use the champion, and also why you should play him. He's immune to bleed as well as power steal effects, and he has 90% resistance to shock as well as incinerate. Whenever the opponent fills a bar of power, they then gain 15 stored energy, which is pretty much this, and each time the opponent heals more than 1% of their health or gains more than 1% of power, they then gain 2 stored energy, which is unaffected by reduced regeneration or ability power rates, ensuring that the opponent always builds up stored energy. Each time the opponent hits 10 stored energy, it's then converted into an energy buildup debuff, which lasts indefinitely. As for his evade, whenever he parries a basic hit or parries the final hit of a special attack, he'll have a 100% chance to evade it. This evade has a cooldown of 11 seconds, which is ignored during the opponent's special attacks. His evade allows him to counterattack the opponent, dealing a burst of energy damage and inflicting 2 energy buildup buffs, and if you punish the opponent's special attack after evading it, you then inflict a huge energy vulnerability debuff, which lasts for 18 seconds. As for his ionic charges, he gains 10 whenever he performs a well-timed block, and loses 20 when he's inflicted by a bleed effect by a non-mystic opponent. His ionic charges grant him additional amounts of attack rating and max out at 100 charges, and they also grant him additional physical as well as energy resistance and 90% degen resistance, maxing out at 100 charges. Now once he reaches 100 of these ionic charges, he then activates Ionic Overcharge, which lasts for 17 seconds, is paused during his special attacks, and once it expires, he loses 100 of his charges. Once he's in this mode, all of his attacks will be non-contact and will deal energy damage instead of physical. While he's in this mode, the opponent's regen and ability power rates will also be reduced by 95%, and when the opponent would gain power, he then gains 60% of the power denied. Now whenever he evades the opponent and throws a special attack, the first hit will then deal a burst of energy damage. But speaking of special attacks, the special one. The first 4 hits consume 2 energy buildups on the opponent, which can trigger through the block and is unaffected by ability accuracy. For each energy buildup that's consumed, he then gains 16 of his ionic charges, 8% of his missing health, and 9% of a bar of power. The special 2. On activation, he gains a Fury passive per 10 ionic charges that he has, with each Fury passive lasting for 16 seconds, and the max stacks that you can have is 15. The final hit inflicts an Incinerate debuff, dealing a certain amount of energy damage for 6 seconds, which will be a Plasma debuff instead if he's facing a Mystic opponent. And last but not least, the special 3. He gains 50 of his ionic charges and then activates his Ionic Overcharge, which will then be paused for 10 seconds. As for his awakened ability, he'll actually regenerate a certain amount of health that has been denied from the opponent, which can't exceed a certain amount of health, scaling with base health only, and he can only heal this way while he's in his Ionic Overcharge. Whenever the opponent gains a percentage of a bar of power within 0.5 seconds, he instantly gains 50 of his Ionic charges, and then activates his Ionic Overcharge. This will also trigger when the opponent heals a certain amount of health within 0.5 seconds, but that's pretty much it for all of his abilities. As for how to play him, I would say it's pretty simple. You want to start off by parrying the opponent's basic attack, allowing you to evade and place some energy buildups on the opponent, and also gaining some Ionic charges in the process. Whenever the opponent throws a special attack, then you pretty much want to parry the final hit, and once you evade it, you pretty much want to counter attack the opponent immediately. This will allow you to place an energy vulnerability debuff, which pretty much allows you to deal a lot more damage. But if you can't dex the opponent's special attack, it's not that big of a deal, though you will be missing out on quite a bit of damage. Once you build up to 1.9 bars of power, you pretty much just want to throw your special one, allowing you to gain more of your charges and also healing a bunch of health. After this, it's pretty much the same thing: parry the opponent's special attacks, inflict your energy vulnerabilities and all that, until you build up to a special 2. This is where you deal your big damage since you gain those big fury passives, and after this you pretty much repeat the process. Pretty simple overall, a lot of damage while doing so, and a lot of utility as well. But anyways, on to this man's attire, and am I crazy or is this man just wearing North Star's outfit? Remove the cape, remove the red and the yellow and the ensign and all that, and this is one for one the exact same fit. Nah, what is going on, man? Yeah, I guess this one's better since it doesn't have the whole triangle pointy things, but the fact that it's so similar is very strange. Now, since it's almost the exact same fit, it still looks clean, man, I gotta say. You can never go wrong with the black and white, and in his case, he pretty much tries to make the outfit stand out by adding a little bit of yellow and red to it. With a big old Doctor Strange cape and the collar being that huge is a little bit funny. Can you even see what's on his left, what's on the right? Like, it's way too much. And I also see the cape going over the shoulder on one side and then there's nothing on the other. He must think he's so cool, man. And unfortunately he is. Only problem I have is that he has the same hairline as Vegeta. He has an N on the belt and then a V on the forehead. You hate to see it. Apart from that, I think this is one of the best designs in the game. One of the best aura farming champions as well. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. Like, bro, if I give him a rating lower than 8, then I'm pretty much doing him a disservice. So I think I'll be giving this, I'd say a 9 out of 10. The only goofy looking part is pretty much just the cape at the top, but other than that, the outfit is too clean, man, way too clean. But anyways, on to the topic of why you should play him. First and foremost, he has some of the best utility in the game. Yes, other science champions can prevent the opponent from healing, but with Count Nefaria, you not only do that, but you also heal in the process, which basically means he's one of the best sustainable champs in the game as well, man. One of his other powerful forms of utility is the ability to steal the opponent's extra power gain, and overall in this game, we don't have that many champions that do this, making it one of the most unique utilities to have. And since the opponent gaining a lot of power can lead to them throwing a special 3, I would say this utility is one of the best. He can also steal the opponent's power while doing so. It's just, what can I even say? And on top of all the utility, the damage is crazy. You'd expect someone like him to deal noodle kinds of damage, and yes, he sort of does do doo-doo kind of damage, but in order to be dealing a lot more damage, you pretty much need to parry the opponent's last special attack hit, and then immediately counter to place an energy vulnerability. If you're facing an opponent whose special attacks can't really be parried, then you will be losing out on a lot of damage, but even when you don't have these energy vulnerabilities, the damage is still really good in my opinion. The only problem with this kit, I would say, is the fact that you need to build up to 100 charges, In order to deny the opponent of regen as well as power gain, you basically need to ramp up quite a bit in order to get to the utility part, but even then, he's still one of the best science champions in the game. But that is pretty much it when it comes to Count Nefaria. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of him. Make sure to join my Discord group. The link will be down in the description. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!